AI, it's powerful, it's innovative, it's even dangerous, and has now become so pervasive that we talk about it and take it for granted. But today, I want to talk about how you can also use AI to help you improve your current e-commerce business. Hey guys, welcome to Metacake, where we break down the principles behind creating a highly successful e-commerce business. My name is Kenneth Ott, and today we're talking about AI and e-commerce. And so for most, AI has been a fun idea, and some I have conversations with people all the time where they're enamored with it and they're messing around with it and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, very few people are able to practically use it, right? To actually do things more efficiently and increase their business. And so it's been hard to put into practice. And maybe that's because you think it can do more than it can right now. Maybe you thought it could write all of your blogs if you just said, please write my blog posts based on this topic. And maybe it turned out to sound like a robot and not a human, and maybe it sucked. And that's probably the case. So here's the thing. Most people use it as a novel kind of hobby, and few use it effectively. And so my goal today is to help you understand some ways that you can effectively and practically use AI inside of your e-com business to actually grow it, right? To actually create efficiencies. And so first, to talk about that, let's talk about what it should and shouldn't be used for. AI is not a magic genie, right? And I think anyone who's messing around with it realizes that pretty quickly. It's not going to read your mind and deliver you an acceptable end result, right? Rather than you having to actually think about what actually that result is. So instead of thinking about it as a magic genie, I like to think about it as an assistant. That's actually the most practical way to think about an AI, whether it's ChatGPT or something else, right? And as an assistant, you'd give it low-level tasks to do, right? And you'd have to train it to make sure it produces the output that you're actually looking for, right? So that it actually makes a really good thought partner in this way, right? For ideas like names or summaries of things or outlines and et cetera, et cetera. But in order for it to give you anything good, you have to give it good input, which is actual human stuff. You actually have to verify its accuracy and give it feedback, right? So it lies a lot, it's biased, we know that it is, and so it needs feedback, it needs to be adjusted. And the goal shouldn't be to replace high quality, great effort. It should be to enhance and expand the already great strategies that you're using and the great brands that you're building. And so, for example, don't have it write your entire product detail page, but have it optimize it. Like, that's an idea. Let's talk about what hasn't changed, and I don't think will ever change. And as a e-commerce healthy growth business owner, rather than looking for growth hacks and silver bullets, let's just build a really great company, right? And so what hasn't changed is, no matter what you think, creativity still has to come from a human being. And it will always be the case because creativity comes from human beings. It doesn't come from actually anything physically. It comes from something deep mentally and spiritually. Creativity has to be fed into AI if it's going to assist you in creating something great. And so the things that matter in building your business, like your purpose, like why you exist, which is the only thing that people actually buy, your vision, your mission, your brand voice, your customer avatars, who's your target, all of that stuff needs to come from the soul of your company. Otherwise, it's going to feel hollow. And so you can ask AI to do it, but you'll end up with a hollow brand and hollow product detail pages and like cheesy stories and a poor blog and all these different things, right? And that's not because AI is not useful. It's just because it's not meant to do that. It's not a living human being with a soul and creativity. You are. It didn't create your company. You did. And we all know how it feels to interact with hollow brands, right? We've all interacted with those brands. We can all sniff when someone's not genuine. And that's what they're going to feel about you if you just use AI to kind of run amok on your business. And that may be what you're feeling if you're not using it. And so what implications does AI actually have on the idea of copywriting And because it's used for copywriting a lot, right? If you're a copywriter and a brand that simply just mails in your work, right, which has no strong purpose, you don't have a strong voice, maybe you don't have a personality that you're trying to get to, you don't have a target audience. If you're those type of people, you're probably going to get disrupted. But if your brand has that, right, and continues to execute things, so if you have those things, but also if you continue to execute in those ways the hard way, right, ignoring AI, right? Let's, for example, like the brands that ignored the internet back in the day, remember that they actually got left behind, right? And so whether you're, executing these things poorly, or whether you're executing these things really, really well, but you're ignoring AI, those two situations, you're probably going to be at a disadvantage and you're probably going to be disrupted. And so it makes sense to figure out, without thinking that this is some magical thing, it makes a lot of sense to figure out, how do we leverage AI in the right ways inside of our business to actually pour rocket fuel onto the good things that we're doing, to optimize what we're doing, to reduce our effort in certain areas, and actually help us create healthier, more sustainable, more profitable, more successful direct-to-consumer businesses. I want to go through 12 ways that AI can actually help boost your e-commerce business today. And actually, I have a 13th way that I'll add on here as well. I want to tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I was called up by a friend of mine who does a lot of consulting, a lot of different tech companies and things. And he asked me, because I'm in e-commerce and I've been working with e-commerce brands, and Metacake is a consultant to $100 million e-commerce brands and all sorts of brands. We get to see what works, what doesn't, right? He asked me to be part of a secret meeting that was at this private club that was actually behind lock and key. Like, you actually had to get a passcode to actually go in the door. And he wanted me to be part of it to talk with this new tech company, or it's not brand new, but they're doing AI. It's a tech company, about their entry into the e-commerce space and what they were doing. They wanted to share some things about what they were doing and ask some questions about how they could create things that would really boost the success of e-commerce businesses. And so we had this 4-hour meeting, went pretty late. We ate a lot of steak, and some really, really cool things came out of that. And so I'm going to share some of what came out of that, some of what you'll be able to do soon at the end of this video. All right. So before we get into that, I want to talk about 12 ways, actually 13, that you can actually leverage AI today. And then we'll talk about what the future's looking like. First, you can use it to do grunt work like product descriptions, right? You might find that if you just tell AI to write your product descriptions, they're going to be hollow, as I said earlier, and you don't want that. So with any of these things, there's some work and training that you're going to have to do. And that's actually going to take time and effort, right? And so you're going to have to get good at working with AI to actually have AI produce something of value to you. Otherwise, it's not going to produce any value. So writing product descriptions, I know a lot of brands that sometimes have to rewrite the product descriptions or adjust them in mass in certain ways. And AI can really help there with just that grunt work. It can also really help with improving product descriptions if you say, you want to optimize it for certain keywords or optimize it for a certain avatar, like to bring out certain aspects of your product that are for your target customer. So when you're doing A/B tests, you can quickly create different versions to A/B test for different customer avatars and things like that. So improved product descriptions is one. Marketing copy is another one, right? And again, you can train AI in certain ways to create really great marketing copy in your voice if you take the time to do that. Product descriptions in mass, I actually mentioned that one a second ago, but when you get more detailed into the personalization of product descriptions, that is one way to do it. Landing pages and all the copy around landing pages, actually giving it a model of a great landing page and then have it write other versions within your voice. Again, it gets you away from the blank page, but you'll still have to make some adjustments if you want it to be really great. Email copy. right? So we talk about the value of email inside of e-commerce. It should be 30% or more of your revenue, right? And it's an owned channel, but you need to do it often. AI can help you write that copy and help you give you ideas for how to be interesting. And if we're relying on a robot to give us ideas as a human being on how to be interesting, then I think there might be a problem there. But it'll give you ideas if you ask it to, and that will help you on the blank page with the blank page syndrome and actually help you kind of get some momentum there. R&D is a big part of a growing e-commerce business. Ideas, names for products, you can actually use it as a thought partner for R&D pretty well. Social media posts, those are things that you actually AI is really good at, because you can train it on the voice and you can give it the core content, which you have to write. But then it's really summarizing things for social media, right? And you can have it focus more on pain versus pleasure and some of those kind of things, which is actually critical for social media. So social media posts are really good. Video outlines. And so if you're not doing product videos or you're not doing brand videos, you should be. And a video marketing strategy is really, really important. But video outlines can be hard to come by, right? So you can actually you can train it on certain types of outlines and then have it write outlines for you based on posts that you've written or articles that you've written or other things that you've already created. Testing features and benefits against your target avatars, right? So you can actually, again, as a thought partner, I say, like, you can have it act as someone, like a customer avatar of yours that has certain psychographics and demographics. And then you can actually have it go back and forth and you can talk to it about certain features and benefits of what might be important. Now, it's not a real human being. And so it may say something crazy and it may not be accurate. Don't take it as if it were accurate. Just use it as an idea generator or a thought partner. It might bring something up that you're not aware of, right? So validate it against your own human brain. Improved and dynamic personalization of your store. Improving your homepage and other areas like your about page to, again, be tailored for your avatar would be another way you can use it. Search engine optimization or page optimization for certain search terms. And you can even use it to create hero images. There's some really great AI tools that create images, and product photography can be a real challenge for some brands. And product photography is super important in the e-commerce journey. We talk about that a ton. It is one of the big conversion levers, right? Good product photography, but it can be costly, and you can actually use AI to even help you generate some product and hero photography for your images. And then internally for SOPs, we talk a lot about how you can actually create organizational scale and standard operating procedures, SOPs, and other types of things is how you do that, right? Automating certain parts of your business. You can use AI to help create those SOPs. Then you can even use AI to do certain portions of your customer service, right? So a lot of tools these days are actually integrating it. So you don't really have to do anything other than use the tool, but it will help use AI to actually do certain levels of customer service. And so those are the 12 ways that you can use AI today to actually help you scale your business. But here's the deal, it takes work, right? You have to train it on your brand. You have to validate and crazy check what it says. That's really important to consider, because if you just throw it out there, if you just think it's going to take, in one question to, ChatGPT, it's going to dump you back something amazing, it's not going to, and you're going to be disappointed. So it actually takes some work to learn it, right? So there is some effort and investment on your part to do it. Sort of like when the internet came out, right? Like you can't just copy and paste a website up there. It takes some effort and investment to think about how do you use this channel in your business, right? And some of you don't remember when the internet came out, and some of you were left behind when the internet came out. But that decision had to be made. That intentionality had to be there, right? Same with AI. Some things that are coming in the future. Pretty soon, there's going to be ways that we can create dynamic e-commerce experiences based on the needs and desires of the specific customers and visitors that are our site. So your site can actually change whether it be the homepage or the product description, or maybe even the offer, right? Based on those people. Now, we've actually simulated that for years, right? Using A/B testing and A/B testing platforms and those kind of things. And so it's not a new concept, but what if it could dynamically create situations where you're not changing what your product is, you're just changing how you're marketing or the features and benefits that you bring up to your customers based on who they are, because we know that certain customer avatars care about certain parts of your products differently than others. We often talk about the two types of customer, of visitors, right? The laser and the browser. The laser knows exactly what they want and they need it right away. The browser wants to look around and not sure, and they need to be educated, and then they check out. What if your site can adapt in real time to those behaviors? Those are some of the things that might be coming down the pike in the future, and it's good to get ahead of it and start to learn this, and so that you know how to leverage it and actually not create a hollow brand with it, but create a healthy brand with it. Lastly, I'll just talk about there is a real threat with AI, right? And this post is not about that, so I'm not gonna get into it a lot, but like AI has potential. It has potential. I'm not saying it is, it has potential to be too powerful. And that's not an exaggeration. But it isn't today. And today, the greatest threat is actually, in my opinion, making you lazy, making you unappreciative, potentially, of really good work, right? Telling your awesome branding designer that I could just go on AI and like generate an image. That is not the case, right? Because creativity comes from a human being and soul comes from a human being. And that's what people really buy when they buy your e-commerce brand of the business. So if you do these things, right? If you become unappreciative of certain aspects, if you take it for granted, take certain things for granted, if you become lazy, what you'll end up with is with a poor business and a poor brand experience, and ultimately an unsuccessful business experience. Just like other things, there's no silver bullet. There's no magic bullet, right? The internet is not a magic slot machine where you put something in and you get millions of dollars out. It has never been. It will never be, right? You get out what you put in, but you can get out exponentially what you put in if you put in high quality things. And that's the key. And that's the key to healthy growth. That's the key to growth leverage, what we call it at Medicate, growth leverage versus growth hacking. And so great brands are valuable, and great brands take human purpose and intention into context when they do what they do, right? And so use AI to work smarter and don't use it as a substitute. So like anything new, it will be overhyped by some, it will be overused by others, it will be ignored by others, and it will be leveraged in the appropriate balance by the ones that are actually successful. And so AI is no different, and it has the ability to help you build a successful and more valuable e-commerce business, but it can also waste a ton of your focus and your time and end up with a hollow brand full of tactics that actually don't work long-term if you're not careful. So build for long-term and you'll have a valuable brand, because that's what we're about. If you're a 6 to 9 figure e-commerce business and would like to work with us to increase your growth and your value, go to medicake.com to see if we might be a fit. Thanks, and never stop growing.